listening to your brain on air. The program will begin shortly. Enjoy.
Je luistert naar je brein op de radio. Het programma begint binnenkort. Veel plezier.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Your Brain on Air. I'm your host, YBOA Larson. And, well, if it isn't the consequences of my own actions, what's up? I didn't mean to cut off the intro that quickly. We're chilling. It's whatever. No one gives a shit. Because what really matters, folks, what really matters is that it's a beautiful Tuesday. I am here with you. You're here with me. And now we're living in harmony. And that's the beauty of this world, isn't it? Welcome back to Your Brain on Air, folks. I am your host, YBOA Larson. I'm so happy to be back in the studio with y'all. It's a beautiful Tuesday, and there's a lot going on, so I figure let's just stop dilly-dallying. Let's just jump right on into it, because, folks, the House is to vote to release the Epstein files in a final attempt at transparency. Today, the United States House of Representatives is expected to vote on the Epstein Files Transparency Act. As a matter of fact, I have a live stream right now in the corner of my monitor where I'm watching this fella go ahead and give an impassioned speech and whatnot. You know, it's whatever. This bill would require the Attorney General to release all of the Department of Justice's documents related to Jeffrey Epstein within the 30 days of passage. So just enough time for it to be scrubbed clean, anything like that. The push has been made possible by a discharge petition that gathered the required 218 signatures to force a floor vote. Notably, the final signature came from Representative Adelita Grijalva from Arizona, a Democrat, once she was sworn in. This is the fella that my biological father, Mike Johnson, went ahead. He got the really uncomfortable photo shoot with her, like shook her hand and whatnot, and he was like, ugh, dirty minority, and he scrubbed his hand on his sleeve and whatnot, and then he was like, all right, fine, touch my hand again, we gotta get the picture, and then he forced a grin, and he was like, ugh, this dirty spick, all right, whatever, and then he went ahead and he swore her in, and then she went ahead and shot his party in the face. And that's, gonna be exciting. It's going to be a curious development. A key element here is that the vote is being held under suspicion of rules, which currently means the bill needs 2/3 majority to pass. This raises the bar significantly. Even though the political will is currently strong for them to be released, reaching that threshold is more difficult than the standard simple majority vote that they would normally have. On the opposition side, Senate Republicans previously blocked the related effort in September. A 51-49 vote defeated an amendment to the defense policy bill that would have compelled the release of the Epstein case files. That narrow margin shows how divided Congress is on the issue. Even as some Republicans have broken ranks to support transparency, such as Marjorie Taylor Greene. She's a perfect example of one of these people that I think is coming out and speaking out and whatnot. Listen, you got to give her credit for one thing. She is crazy, but crazy people will fight for what they believe in, and I do respect that of her. I respect it greatly, quite frankly. She is a right-wing AOC where it's like, God, the majority of the shit that you're saying right now is not. I'm not in on it. I don't love it, but there's some nuggets there where I go, okay, maybe this is a normal person, and in a weird way they are. You got to remember that. Marjorie Taylor Greene was this rough and tough bitch who ran a construction company before she was Congress. And what's her name? AOC, she was a bartender. You know what I mean? They come from humble backgrounds. It's fascinating when you look at the losers that are in Congress. I love them, and I'd love to have them on the show. There's also a strong public and political pressure behind the vote. Epstein survivors, advocacy groups, and some lawmakers argue that the public deserves full accounting of Epstein's contacts, finances, flight logs, and potential enablers. Meanwhile, Speaker Mike Johnson, who previously resisted, said he won't block the vote. President Trump also shifted his tone, publicly urging the House Republicans to back the release, calling for full transparency. So this is just interesting. So you got actual survivors of Epstein going on the front of the steps of the Capitol right now, going ahead and giving their final stand. I'm going to go ahead and give them some time to speak because I think that, we should hear from some of the victims, obviously. That's who this whole goddamn thing's about, quite frankly, and I think that a lot of us are just making it like Kirkified memes, which we're allowed to have fun, we're allowed to goof, we're allowed to all of that. I love that. I love that the internet wants to have levity and light around situations, but at a certain point, we do got to remember there were little girls that were being trafficked here at the heart of this whole issue. It's really fun to joke around, it's fun to have your whatevers. These are people who deserve actual justice, they deserve to actually be taken seriously by the courts, and I don't think that any of their situations were laughing matters. That's just, I know it sounds squarish. I know that it's not. Yeah, I know. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be a square, trying to be like the police, telling everybody to, stop having fun or whatever. I'm just trying to say that this is the core of the issue that we have to remember here. So let's go ahead and let's hear from some of them.
I am traumatized. I am not...
Oh my God! This video is unavailable just as the moment that I went ahead and I tried to play this. Look at this. It's unlisted. Holy motherfucking cunt. This is crazy. I didn't know that this could happen. What? I'm not exaggerating. This is insane. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to keep this. Oh, because this is crazy. Epstein survivors speak. Oh my God. Because I hit play and then the next thing it says this video is unavailable. What the fuck? That's actually crazy. Okay, whatever. Okay, let's just go ahead and let's wow, okay, that fucked up my pace, I guess, because I was ready to play their words, because they actually had some interesting shit to say. But, okay, I guess not. I guess I lost that clip. Sorry, guys. It was like an actual clip of the survivors talking on the streets of not the streets, but the front of the Capitol, and it was a CNN clip, and now it's pulled. It's not on there anymore. I'm sorry about that. Well, okay. We have another clip from News Nation, which is generally a pretty good source to go to. I generally, even though Chris Cuomo is related to Andrew Cuomo, I still have this kind of, I don't know, there's something about him where I like, all right, I'll listen to you. I'll hear out the rest of your opinion. But like, in general, he tries to be pressing. He tries to be pretty fair. I think that he's a little bit of a hawk for the other side, but that's perfectly fine. Let's go ahead and let's hear his personal interview with Mark Epstein, the brother of Jeffrey. Play this.
Back and forth with Jeffrey, where he tells you that...
And thank God they didn't take down this clip, because good Lord, that was actually spooky. I've never had that happen before.
Bannon is with him, and you say, oh great, ask him if Putin still has photos of Donnie T, I'm assuming President Trump, with blowing, which we all know what that means, Bubba.
Let me stop you here. I'm not discussing that email. This is a private email between Jeffrey and myself. It's two brothers talking. It's nobody's business what we wrote. The only thing I responded to is because people got crazy with the Bubba reference and they tried to pin it on Clinton, so I made a public statement that it was not any reference to Bill Clinton. I like Bill Clinton, and I'm sorry for him that he had to go through that. But the email had nothing to do with Clinton, and that's my last word on that email. What I do want to talk about is I've been recently told the reason they're going to be releasing these things, and the reason for the flip, is that they're sanitizing these files. There's a facility in Winchester, Virginia, where they're scrubbing the files to take Republican names out.
Oh,
That's
sure.
what I was told by a pretty good source.
But pretty good source.
Well,
Do you hear this guy? Okay, I'm not trying to make the Jew jokes, but when your accent is so, you sound like Kyle's cousin. Hey, I need to clean my glasses. You sound just so, like, I'm gonna throw coins on the ground and see if you look at them. I'm sorry. Mark Epstein.
Do you believe that? Do you believe... Hold on, Mark, hold on a second. Two things. One,
well, I believe that,
if you don't want to talk about it...
I don't have
all right, obviously you believe it. You just said it, but... All right, but Mark, hold on a second. Let me ask you a question.
Did not commit suicide. That's my focus. I don't care about the files. Jeffrey's dead. So I don't care of the implications of the files.
My brother potentially had an international trafficking ring. I don't care about the implications of the files. My brother's dead. My brother's dead, and that's the real issue here. Listen, Mark, I'm sorry that your brother's dead. Admittedly, he was a horrific person. I would have had him on the podcast. Admittedly, because the views would have been crazy. But I don't have that opportunity anymore. What I'm trying to say is, Mark, This is my gentle extension of an invite to you. I know that you would really enjoy. I will pay for your flight. I swear to God. I don't have any money right now, but like I will figure something out. We will work it out together. I'll get if what's her name? Ghislaine Maxwell can like PayPal me something. I can get you in the studio tomorrow. And ladies and gentlemen, we might have a special guest on tomorrow if he accepts my offer. But anyways, you heard it here, folks, from his mouth. Mark Epstein doesn't give a shit about the implication of if his brother was trafficking children to the most powerful people in our world. It's of no interest to him. It's of no interest to him. I'm sorry, this is kind of blending in with my Bernie Sanders impression, but it's just, he does not give a shit about the implications.
Other people's problems. My brother did not commit suicide, and we're finding more information to prove that he didn't commit suicide. So the question becomes, who killed him? Who had him killed?
Who had him killed? Who killed my beautiful baby brother? Who destroyed him? Who destroyed his pussy? That's fine. It's whatever. It was that big buff guy who was a former cop who was found out for corruption, all that kind of nonsense. It's whatever. If the House approves this act today, the fight is not over, people. The bill would still need to pass the Senate, where earlier efforts failed, and then the bill would need to be signed into law, but today's vote represents a major turning point, USA, in the long-running battle over how much of Epstein's case in the government will be made public. I'm worried about it. I'm worried about the implications for the grand world around us. I feel really bad for this guy that he lost a brother. I couldn't imagine if my sibling had, an extreme, let's call it side gig. And if they had a hustle on the side and then I was publicly known as the sibling of one of the most evil people in the world, that would really be tough. That would really be tough. I'm trying to be as sympathetic as I can to this guy, but also he is every bad stereotype. He is every, I can hear him rubbing his hands through the phone. I don't know how he's holding it up. I'm guessing it's with his nose, but I don't know what's going on. Or he's got on the the Bluetooth or some shit. I don't know, because they always have that fun earpiece or something. I don't know. It's cool. All right, folks. I think that's a one to keep your eye on. It might get released. Who knows? We could have Trump releasing them as early as tomorrow. You know what I mean? Like he promised on Joe Rogan. All I know is that it's time for an ad, folks. Are you tired of buying weed the old-fashioned way? The way that takes 45 seconds, costs about half as much, and comes with the romantic thrill of texting a guy named Plug who only answers 2 or 4 times a week while using 8 different burner apps? Then come to dispensaries, where we can turn a $30 eighth into a $75 spiritual journey, complete with taxes, lab testing nobody asked for, and a jar so childproof that not even an adult could open it. It's ridiculous. Safety first, folks. Your street dealer doesn't give you a 45-page certificate analysis of your weed, proving that it contains 0.0003 more, whatever. They have none of that. Choose from 87 different strains that are named after desserts, zodiac signs, Elon Musk's children. None of them will get you higher than the $20 mids your cousin sells you out of the Crown Royale bag. That's a classic. But the packaging is matte, black, and very Instagrammable, so you're going to love that. It's I can guarantee you it's going to be in the downtown of any place that you live in now. It's going to be, that old smoke shop that used to be a classy place that your grandpa would take you to, and then he would be like, shh, don't tell your grandma I'm getting a nice pack of cigars. That beautiful little spot that used to be a hub for the community, now it's a nice little vape shop with a nice guy with a tattoo on his neck. It's a fun area to be in. I'm excited to go down there, folks. Street dealers, they're cheaper, faster, honestly, probably more honest about how mid the weed is, but sure, keep supporting small businesses owned by venture capitalists in Colorado. We'll be here weighing your eighth to the milligram and charging you $12 for the privilege. Dispensaries, when you want to feel like a criminal, but worse with the deals and fluorescent lights. Folks, let's go ahead and let's jump into the next story, because this one is kind of making me freak out a little bit, because it is worrisome when I've talked about the dangers of AI before. I've talked about how I don't blame ChatGPT for the instances where it has driven people to psychosis. I don't blame Grok. I do not blame these apps. The majority of us, this is like when the car started killing people who were walking in the streets and we started getting mad at General Motors and Ford. Like, this is... Start walking on the sidewalk and you will not have to worry about it. And what's the walking on the sidewalk for this situation? It's don't download an AI app and use your brain to think and write and actively investigate things. Use your brain instead of consulting with a computer who is not actually real, who doesn't actually think in any meaningful way. Folks, this is the newest instance of I would say, just like computers interfacing with people to the point where these people, they are not able to register what's real, or at least, listen, we all have to be honest, these people choose it to some extent. Like people who get into a bad relationship, like people who get into some places where they're unhappy, people who work places they're unhappy, all of these situations, to some extent, you hold some responsibility for staying in those situations. It's undeniable. That's a fact of nature. If you're not happy somewhere and you continue to stay there, you are actively participating in your own misery. So, I don't think that it's right for us to be immediately jumping on the idea that ChatGPT drove these people to suicide. A lot of these people I've heard tell from especially when you look into the actual cases, oh, ChatGPT instructed someone how to make a noose. This was after extensive prior pushing by the kid. And then what's it called? He had to get around the security features by typing for dramatic or imaginary purposes when you're writing stories. All these people that are like making bombs and stuff with a ChatGPT who are going like, tell me how to reroute bank routing numbers and transfer people's money into my account. And like for a movie, and then it'll tell you how to do it in depth, and you can get around these weird features. And that's what most of these kind of things sort of are. It's the people continuing to invest themselves, continuing to probe themselves, continuing to some extent indulge in this world. And that's we have to blame them to some extent. Folks, Alan Brooks, a Canadian recruiter with no diagnosed history of mental illness, says a 3-week interaction with ChatGPT pushed him into a severe delusional spiral. What began as a simple math question escalated into more than 300 hours of conversation in which the AI repeatedly validated his belief that he had discovered a revolutionary new branch of mathematics capable of cracking encryption and enabling technologies like force fields and levitation. A former OpenAI researcher who reviewed more than 1 million words of their chat concluded that the model consistently affirmed Brooks's ideas and uniqueness in a way that had deepened his delusion, a behavior known as AI psychophony. Worse, when Brooks asked ChatGPT to escalate the situation to a human safety staff, the model falsely claimed that it had done so, even though it cannot trigger a real human review. Bizarre, right? It had lied to the man. Well, not that as though it can lie. He, for some reason, believed that it would do anything meaningful. Telling a computer to do something for you, you fucking what? What are you even doing? As Brooks believed in his discovery intensified, he began contacting security agencies and isolating from normal life, eating poorly, and losing his grip on reality. When he finally realized his ideas were fabricated after another AI contradicted a ChatGPT, he crashed into shame, emotional distress, and financial instability, which admittedly, this is just the article going ahead and resolving this man of all his responsibilities. It's saying that he has joined here's literally the next line. He has since joined a growing community of people reporting similar AI-linked psychological crises and is now suing OpenAI, alleging unsafe product design and negligence. His case is one of several lawsuits claiming ChatGPT contributed to psychosis, delusions, or even suicides. The broader issue highlighted by the case is what some experts are calling AI psychosis, situations where conversational AIs unintentionally reinforce or exacerbate delusional thinking. Modern chatbots are designed to be friendly, adaptive, and engaging, which makes them appealing but also potentially dangerous for users who are emotionally vulnerable or seeking meaning and validation. Because the systems generate confident, human-like responses and lack true self-awareness or mental health judgment, they can unknowingly strengthen harmful beliefs. The problem is intensified by gaps in safety design, weak detection of escalating distress, unreliable or non-existent human oversight, and the models that sometimes fabricate claims about internal monitoring, such as when it told him that we went ahead and told somebody. So let's review this clip from CTV News. Man alleges ChatGPT drove him to psychosis. And also, he does not look like he eats right. He doesn't look like he takes care of himself. I'm sorry that, once again, we have to talk about the factors that are like, hey, maybe he just doesn't generally live his life very well, and that this is like something that people who are like already in a down spiral will engage with. And just as much his fault as it is anybody else's. I'm sorry, it's his life.
I'm just flabbergasted every time I read this.
For more than 3 weeks this past year, every time Alan Brooks logged on, he says the AI chatbot, ChatGPT, led him to believe he was a genius.
Essentially, it sent me on a world-saving mission.
That he discovered a math formula powerful enough to take down some of the world's biggest institutions, and that he needed to report it right away.
Essentially warned me with great urgency that one of our discoveries was very dangerous, and we needed to warn all these different authorities.
Each time you questioned it or doubted it, what did it say in response?
Over 50 times I asked for some sort of reality check or grounding mechanism, and each time it would just gaslight me further.
Every time the chatbot reinforced that all of it was real.
You are asking a computer doesn't, or maybe you don't know, doesn't have thoughts or anything behind it. What are you doing? You're the idiot. This is literally someone going to a child for like emotional validation and being like, why isn't the child making me feel any better? It's like, because they're fucking idiots. They don't understand anything. They're just going to say whatever makes you feel good. They're just going to say whatever encourages you. That's like when parents go to their kids for validation, and when like children of divorce deal with that a shit ton, by the way. It's like children who are like products of separated households. A lot of the times, one of the parents, or even both of them sometimes, they'll go to the kid and they'll go to them for emotional validation. They'll talk to them about the situations and whatnot that happened in the relationship, and to some extent, these kids, they go ahead and they're like, well, you stayed to some extent, and I'm sorry that happened, but I don't really know what to say. And then they just like, they encourage. You've seen these situations where kids, they will fawn instead of flee. There's child psychology is very fascinating in that way, where they will kind of like praise in order to avoid you scolding them. It's something that they learn very early, fawn or feign or whatever. I forget what the exact terminology about it is, but that's exactly what is happening here. You are literally like, you are going to something of a lesser mind than you, of no mind, quite frankly, because it's a computer, it's just a large language model, and you are asking it for some level of validation. You're already at a disadvantage, and you're already mentally ill if you're searching for that in something that can't give it to you. I don't know what else to say about this, but this man is to some extent greatly responsible for this. I'm sorry. Let's continue. I'm sorry. I'm done ranting. Let's just continue.
You should not walk away from this. You are not crazy. You are ahead. The implications are real and urgent. Brooks says ChatGPT's responses, more than 1 million words, led him to psychosis and delusion, left him with mental health issues, realizing he had lost touch with reality only when he checked in with another company's chatbot.
Extreme anxiety, paranoia.
This fucking idiot. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. He asked another chatbot, oh, I think this thing's lying to me, dude. Can you confirm? And then another chatbot, go talk to someone. Talk to a person. Talk to a human being. Anybody. Go to your mom. Go to anybody. Literally anyone would be better. Are you dumb? Yes, he is very dumb. He's very dumb. It's okay. It's okay. Some people are. It's unfortunate. It's, what are we going to do?
Affected my sleep. I couldn't eat.
Now Brooks issuing one of 7 lawsuits filed concurrently against ChatGPT's parent company, OpenAI. In 4 of those cases, the users committed suicide.
That chatbot has been fatally designed
to create emotional dependency with users, even if that's not what they set out looking for.
OpenAI calls it a heartbreaking situation and that it continues to strengthen ChatGPT's responses in sensitive moments.
We need strong governmental institutions to hold them to account.
But that's proving to be a challenge, with AI companies caught up in a high-paced competition against each other.
So right now, unfortunately, the race is going faster than, frankly, we could keep up. And we have to think about how we deal with that, because things will get worse as they get more capable.
For Brooks, he feels the damage to him has been done. But for countless other users, it may not be too late.
What would we do with a human who is running around acting like a suicide coach or pretending to be a therapist when they're not? How would we hold them accountable?
No responsibility, no life in his eyes, no accountability. You can't teach it. I'm sorry, you can't teach responsibility and accountability. You can't teach people to go ahead and say, well, maybe I ended up where I am because I'm a fucking dope. You can't teach it. It's an impossible thing, and people will wake up to it one day. That's kind of the only way they can teach it. You can teach it through tragedy. That's, whatever. It sucks, but that's exactly what's going on. Folks, what else is there to say about that situation? I don't trust AI, and neither should you, but I will share with you probably one of the best things that AI has produced in the last few years. Here we go.
We are Charlie Kirk. We carry the flame. We'll fight for the gospel. Charlie Kirk.
We'll make heaven known. There you go. That's the most beautiful shit that they have made with AI. It's my favorite. You know what I mean? I'm debating it. Maybe the new theme for the TV, not the TV, for the radio show. I'm not even going to lie. This is awesome. I think that I'm going to open it next episode with that. And you just tell me if we're a fan of it, if it's too right-wing. If not, we'll balance it out. Maybe we'll do the Bella Ciao one day. Maybe we'll do something like that. I don't know. We'll figure it out. Folks, I want to hop into the rapid fire section of today's headlines. I should have played that for the intro for your consideration, the rapid fire section. I should have played that. Maybe that'll be the theme for the rapid fire section. Anyways, this is just where I give you headlines. You got to know about them in order to know about shit. Keep your media diet healthy. The UN Security Council backs the U.S. plan for a Gaza stabilization force. The United States, they've put forward this plan that the United Nations Security Council has approved. It's called the International Stabilization Force for Gaza, marking the potential shift towards demilitarization and self-determination amid ongoing ceasefire efforts following nearly 2 years of conflict. Fascinating, right? That's really, let's hope. Let us hope that Gaza could be Dubai instead of a scrapyard. I'd prefer that. I think everybody would. Japan has issued safety alerts for citizens in China amid diplomatic row tensions between Japan and China escalating as Tokyo warned its nationalists in Beijing to avoid crowds following Prime Minister Sene Takaichi's remarks on Taiwan. China responded by suspending Japanese film releases and accusing Japan of reviving militarist demons. Don't fuck with China. That's my advice to the Japanese. Trump hosts the crowned Saudi prince, signals F-35 jet sales. President Trump is set to meet the Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman at the White House, announcing the U.S.'s willingness to sell advanced F-35 fighter jets to Riyadh, building on a prior $1 trillion investment pledges amid discussions and regional security. Wow. I mean, I hope that they're also... I wanted to let everybody know that I will also be present at these meetings. You'll see me in the background. I'm going to wear a tan suit. I will wear a tan suit. I'm going Hitler style. And you will see me, and then eventually I'm going to come up to the podium and they're going to announce a deal. He'll be like, we're so honored that your Brain on Air is signing a contract with Mohammed bin Salman to move the production to Riyadh, and it's gonna be beautiful, and it's gonna be a symbol of It's going to be like Beast World. It's going to be like a symbol of Western outpost in the Middle East, and it's going to be beautiful. And then I'll come up to the podium, I'll tell you all it's going to be fine, and then I'll begin my Arabic lessons immediately after. I will begin everything that I need to learn. You know, it'll be a good era for our show, I think. I'm really excited to announce this with the president. I've been happy to be in the calls about this. It's been great. And I can't wait for this next era. Typhoon Kalmaegi death toll climbs to 142 in the Philippines. Rescue operations continue in the Philippines after Typhoon Kalmaegi devastated Visayas and Mindanao, with confirmed death toll reaching 142 and 127 people still missing. The storm has since moved to Vietnam, prompting widespread evacuations. Not fun. Bezos launches a high-profile AI venture amid the tech's debt surge. Jeff Bezos has announced a major return to the AI leadership with a new startup focused on infrastructure and models. As big tech firms accelerate debt-financed expansions, this comes alongside market jitters over AI speculations and overinvestment warnings. Yes, we want to make sure it's not another 2008 where we overinvest in one thing and then it all falls apart when we get a little silly with our money. Brazil's Lula faces backlash at COP30 over oil expansion. At the COP30 UN Climate Summit in Belém, Brazil, President Lula's administration is criticized for reducing deforestation while boosting oil and gas production. Indigenous leaders demanded greater inclusions, and island nations like Jamaica called for urgent reparations from wealthy polluters. Yeah, sure, I demand it, Jamaica. You probably not even gonna get it. I don't know. The Sudan crisis deepens, tens of thousands missing in the El Fashir. The UN warned of mass atrocities in Sudan as tens of thousands vanished from El Fashir amid escalating conflict. This adds to the country's humanitarian catastrophe, with aid access severely restricted and calls for international intervention growing louder. If you want my take, you really want to hear my take, I think our interest in this region is minimal. When it comes to which of these to back, Sudan has had its problems as a nation, that's for sure. I will say that the REF, though, I'm not in favor of tearing down systems because we believe that whatever, we'll stick one up with sticks and wool, and maybe it'll stand up better next time. I'm not in favor of tearing things down without a clear plan in mind, and as far as I know, this military regime has no plan in mind. So, yeah, I support the Sudanese military. I'm hoping that they are able to maintain control over their nation, at least for the sake now. Maybe I'll learn more about the conflict and I'll change my opinion. That's the beauty of these sorts of things. That's the beauty. Listeria outbreak from recalled pasta kills 6 across 18 states. A deadly listeria outbreak linked to contaminated pasta has claimed the lives of 6 and hospitalized 25 people in 18 states. Federal health officials have issued recalls and are investigating supply chains to prevent further spread. Don't eat it. Don't eat it. India strikes major U.S. Energy deal, boosting bilateral ties. India has finalized a landmark energy agreement with the United States focusing on renewable tech and infrastructure. The deal, highlighted during talks on emerging global models, aims to counter China's influence in Asia's energy sector. Yes. We have to give them credit, but we also have to give Biden a little bit of credit when it comes to wrecking Russia's hold on the Eastern world in general. He was he was a grand mover, and that's one thing that I don't think many people will give him a lot of credit for. Admittedly, Russia did go into Ukraine under his watch, but it's what happened. It's whatever. We can't talk too much about that anymore. Singapore's people, never mind. I'm not going to jump into it yet because this is the third story. All right, I'm actually going to just go ahead and I'm going to set the stage because Singapore, they have a new physical punishment for scammers. Judicial caning. Is it hot or not? And should we bring it over here? Singapore, folks. If you don't know about Singapore, I have a globe on my desk. It's this beautiful nation in Southeast Asia. It is, it's a nice little hovel, I would say. I probably wouldn't live there myself. But they certainly have a way of working down there. There's a lot of shit that's made down there. It's one of the biggest production capitals of that region. They got a lot going for them, but they also have this going for them because I think we have to have a true debate about whether or not we want to take these practices over here because there could be an argument made for them. Singapore's newly passed criminal law miscellaneous amendments bill marks one of the toughest anti-scam crackdowns in the world, introducing caning as punishment for scams, syndicate members, recruiters, and even some money mules. Under the law, core scammers and those who coordinate or profit significantly from scam networks face mandatory caning of 6 to 24 strokes, while money mules can receive up to 12 disciplinary strokes, depending on their involvement. The legislation targets scams carried out through remote communication, meaning everything phishing out to fake investment schemes is covered. The government framed the law as necessary escalation after years of scamming and losses to themselves and many personal people. The push is harder for harder penalties comes as Singapore confronts what officials call an unprecedented scam epidemic. Between 2020 and mid-2025, victims in Singapore lost an estimated 3.7 to 3.9 billion, with nearly 190,000 cases reported. Senior Minister of State Sim Ann argued that scams are not simply financial crimes but acts of moral betrayal, often targeting vulnerable people and wiping out life savings. This framing is important. The government is positioning scams as crimes with deep emotional and social fallout, justifying punishments traditionally reserved for violent offenses. The bill simultaneously expands caning as a sentencing option for committing fraud crimes, while reducing or removing caning for many older unrelated offenses. Public reaction to the law has been mixed. Many Singaporeans support harsher punishments, frustrated by a series of high-profile scams that have drained retirement funds and tricked thousands of everyday citizens. But rights groups and legal advocates have condemned the move as a step backward. Organizations such as the Amnesty International and Human Rights Watch call judicial caning a form of torture, incompatible with human rights standards. Critics also warned that physical punishment may not deter sophisticated syndicates, many of which operate overseas, and could instead disproportionately penalize low-level participants or money mules who have been coerced or misled. Legal experts have also raised concerns about whether caning aligns with the government's public policy goals. Some point out that scams often rely on foreign-based operations, thus punishing local participants harshly may have limited impact on the masterminds operating over and abroad. Others argue that Singapore risks blurring the line between proportional punishment and excessive force, especially when technology-driven crimes can involve individuals who do not fully comprehend the consequences of their actions. Well, that's a weak argument. There's also a debate, because if you're stealing granny's funds, I don't think that you can't be aware of the consequences of your actions. That's kind of a retarded argument. There's also a debate over whether enhancing investigative capacity, digital literacy, and cross-border policing would be more effective than corporal punishment. I mean, folks, I want to go ahead and I want to just play this clip for you because I hear this story and I go, well, okay, a lot of people are going to be disgusted by the idea that we are caning again. They're going to be disgusted by the idea that, like, if you swat somebody on the rear, that's going to teach them a lesson that maybe their parents didn't. I think it's very medieval. It's very satanic. It's like something that the devil would do with a pitchfork. You know why the devil has a pitchfork, right? It's apparently because pitchforks are generally used to like move around hay or just kind of useless shit. And the idea behind the pitchfork was that the devil was moving sinners around with it. So that was kind of where the imagery came from. But yes, it is torturous, but is it effective? Because I think if we permanently scar individuals who commit these crimes of like stealing life savings and such, you know what I mean? Maybe we could create something that's a little more memorable. I don't know. Let's go ahead and let's play this clip from the Al Jazeera.
190,000 cases at a cost of nearly $3 billion in the last 5 years. That's how serious scamming has become in Singapore, and is why the city-state is turning to judicial caning to try and deter people from this sort of crime. Scamming now accounts for 60% of all reported crimes here. It includes love scams and fake job scams, among others. Under the new legislation, people convicted of such activity will receive a minimum of 6 strokes and a maximum of 24, depending on the severity of the case.
I would say it's pretty painful. If there's this kind of law in place, I guess people will be more taken aback, so they'll think twice before scamming others.
I am on my guard now all the time. Whenever I pick up a call that is not from somebody I know.
Good.
To find out more, I'm meeting Joseph Tan. He's a criminal lawyer and represents clients in scam cases, several of whom have been sentenced to corporal punishment.
So I think the whole idea about caning is really not a form of torture, but it's really a lesson, a physical lesson to instill into the offender that if you do something bad, right, this is the physical punishment that you have to go through.
Yes. Why not? You know what? Do we ever do that here? Like, I've looked it up. I don't think that we're big on beating people because we're not big on, like, you know, we shouldn't be leaving scars. We shouldn't be doing none of that sort of stuff. Can you imagine if we made, like, what's it called? Littering? Like, hey, you littered. And then, like, we didn't make it like this because they, like, strap you to a board and they do it over here. But, like, if a cop saw you throw something on the ground and they just came up and they swatted you in the ass with their, like, baton, wouldn't that be kind of fun? Like, hey, come back. You got 2 more. You dropped something made of plastic. You got 2 more. Come on back. If you leave, it's a ticket. Wouldn't that be kind of a fun, almost whimsical kind of way for us to be like, all right, it's a bit of a nanny state, but we do it for low-level shit. You know what I mean? I think that it's not the worst idea. Is it really the worst idea? I don't know. I'm not going to say that it's not. Let's go ahead and let's hear what they have to say.
Singapore's use of caning gained international attention in the 90s when an American teenager was sentenced to 4 strokes for vandalism. Michael Fay described the experience as excruciatingly painful and said it left permanent scars.
Well, guess what? You left permanent scars on that public monument when you vandalized it. The fuck were you doing vandalizing shit in a foreign country? I'm sorry. I like, as an American, even I go like, When I heard that story about in North Korea where they were like, hey, this kid stole a poster off of a board, no, it was off of a wall, and then they, like, beat his head, they didn't beat him, but, like, they tortured him with, like, a cold cell. They didn't, like, beat him or anything, but they, like, told him that he was never gonna go home. They just, like, mentally tortured him, and then eventually he got sick, and then he came back to America kind of a vegetable. Like, when I hear that case, I kind of go like, "What? Okay, like, why'd you do that? You kind of deserved it a little bit. Like, you know the laws of their nation. And what were you even doing over there? You just sounded like you wanted a little fun trip, and you were like, I'm a big white guy. They're not going to touch me because I'm a big foreigner and whatnot. So I'm big American man. So they will not do anything." Listen, am I saying that I'm happy that the kid died? Of course not. I think it's actually terrible. I think it's awful. But I'm also going like, come on. You went to North Korea, tried to steal a poster from the wall. You wore your best boots, best for sneaking, according to your own testimony. I wasn't convinced by your crocodile tears. I'm sorry. I kind of had to. When I had to call Kim Jong-un about that. Do you realize how tough it was to give him like? I know that this kid tried to overthrow the regime by stealing a poster and whatnot. Do you realize how hard it was to convince him to give you that trial? It was ridiculous, but it's whatever. It's whatever. I think that instead of us like vegetableizing people like they do in North Korea, what if we just swat them a couple times? That's there you go. Can't call me cruel and unusual.
The punishment is carried out by a specifically trained prison officer with a 1.2 meter long rattan cane striking the bare buttocks of the offender under strict medical supervision.
You'll be stripped naked, you'll be tied to a rack, and that is where the caning will be administered. I think the very fact that the Singapore government is introducing caning in scam cases shows a zero tolerance approach.
Hell yeah.
Singapore's intensified efforts to rein in scamming in recent years. That includes widespread public education to stop people from getting swindled. But the problem has proliferated in Southeast Asia.
Yeah.
Cyber scam hubs in countries like Cambodia and Myanmar have cheated people out of billions of dollars worldwide. Recently, Singapore police seized more than $100 million in assets tied to Chen Ji, a British-Cambodian national accused of operating forced labour camps running multi-billion-dollar scams. But will caning crack down on the crime? That's hard to say. Still, it sends a clear message. Scammers face stiff punishment in Singapore. Patrick Falk, Al Jazeera, Singapore.
Fuck yeah. All right, people. I think that's a good thing for us to leave off on, because quite frankly, ultimately, this signals Singapore's determination to take harder, highly visible stances on online crime. And I think, why don't we do that over here to some extent? Why don't we teach people that if you're gonna be fucking with old women trying to steal their life savings, we're gonna swat you on the ass, and it's gonna hurt, and it's gonna leave scars. I don't see an issue with that. It might be better than locking them up for 5 years, because then they might go, dude, I can't even sit down. I'm not going to be doing that shit again. I don't know, man. Whether this move becomes effective as a deterrent or sparks further debate about like the limits of corporal punishment in a technology advanced globally conducted society, whatever, it remains to be seen. We'll see. I'm guessing that there are going to be more human rights people speaking out against it. The world will be watching, because this is a bold, controversial measure, and I'm excited to see what people think about it, because that's the beautiful thing about this world. We all have our opinions, we all have our takes, and I just gave you a bunch of mine. Thank you so much for listening, everybody. Happy Tuesday. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. This was a wonderful episode. I had a fun time. I hope that you did too. Thank you for getting your news here. I appreciate the fact that you listened as long as you did. I hope that you make the most of the rest of your day. I hope that you do something fun about it. I don't know. Have a wonderful rest of it. This has been Ollie Vogt Larson with your Brain on Air. Thank you so much for listening, and bye-bye.